Hello everyone, I just wanted to share a little bit about my trip to Arkansas. It was amazing and a gift from God. I hadn't been in the airport so long, a whole tree grew in Wilmington. It was crazy to see everybody without any face masks. Apparently that went into effect that day. And Daniel graduated high school that night when I wasn't there with him, so thank you, Lord, for that. I got picked up by Kathleen at the airport in Bentonville and got to see Lou. We went out and had a nice dinner at P.F. Chang's and did a little catch-up time, and I got to hear some awesome testimonies and see how pretty Arkansas is. There's just so many things on the drive home that I enjoyed. We went and did some thrift store shopping the next day and visiting, and there was huge thrift stores, clean, fun, interesting things to find. And I got to see the church, the beautiful church that God has blessed them with at Berryfield Christian Fellowship, and just a little area in the middle of town of Berryville. There was all these old buildings that were put there. There was a little memorial for the lady who started the town and some Civil War memories. It was just really beautiful to see all these old 1800s buildings, and I just love history. Just was fun to see all of that. The next day we went shopping at a nursery to see a friend, and she wasn't there, but we bought a wonderful plant for Lou called Solomon Seal, which came from her garden. And we had a wonderful breakfast at a coffee house, a Christian coffee house, Lou and I. We just kind of had a fun girls' day, going around talking, and she showed me the church, and it was just such a blessing to see. Later that night I shared my testimony and saw some friends. It was just really great. I went thrift store shopping the next day, and I happened to find this, and I visited the Passion Play and saw the Jesus statue. So I spent some time wandering around that beautiful land. They had replicas in the tour of places where Jesus would have lived and Bible stories, and there was a petting zoo, so I got to see some cute animals. It was so funny because the man running the petting zoo was a retired art teacher. So we had a little chat about what to do when you retire, kind of thing. Of course, I had to face off Goliath. That was pretty scary. And I went down to see Christ of the Ozarks, about a 5-story tall statue of Christ overlooking the Ozark Mountains, and it is beautiful and peaceful there, and I visit there every time I go to Arkansas. It's an important part of my trip. They have beautiful gardens there, and camping and hiking trails, and the little chapel that was near the Christ statue, and I just took some pictures when I was there of all the art inside of the chapel, the beautiful stained glass windows. They had a part of the Berlin Wall there. That was pretty fascinating. A little bit of the history of the Berlin Wall when it was taken down. There was a Jerusalem-style chapel there, and I went to another thrift store and I found these pretty paintings. I just wanted to take a picture of them, and I was doing a little bit of thrift store shopping for the weekend for my talk, and Pastor Dale has a sweet little puppy named Ollie. We spent some time together in their beautiful house where I stayed. There was just such a peace there, and what a wonderful time that I got to spend with them. All of the trees were coming in bloom, and they're probably all blooming now. This is the plant that I bought Lou called Solomon Seal. And this is their dog, Petey. Poor Petey, he's a little arthritic, but sweetest dog ever. I love Dale and Lou's house. It's just, they've raised such an awesome family there. Oh, and this is their kitty, Tiger. She got a lot of cat hair on me. And we went that night to hear their son Danny speak, and it was awesome. We visited the Walmart Museum, which was pretty cool. Sam Walton was an amazing man, they told me. This is the front of the concert, or not the concert and speech that we were at. Oh, and this is some art that my son likes. I just recognized it in the window. So we were also at a museum called Crystal Bridges that had a lot of beautiful museum pieces there, original artwork, and all funded by Walmart, and they're a lot of money. We saw this Frank Lloyd Wright house, which was moved piece by piece from New Jersey to be put in the museum, and we took a tour of that, and that was amazing to hear the vision. You weren't allowed to take pictures inside, so I couldn't do that. Some pretty plants that we saw. This is the architecture of the museum. It was beautiful. And it was fun. I saw some artists that I've taught about, and I had to take some pictures for my students so they would believe me that art of a balloon is a real thing. And there was some kind of event happening. I just thought it was pretty, the table. And this artist I want to do a lesson about. I just happened to see her there. How amazing. Some modern art we saw. And I stood in front of a huge, real Mark Rothko. That was pretty great. And there was some crazy modern art installations on the wall as we were passing by. This is a sterling silver wall installation of the river, the Silver Upper River that goes through Arkansas. Lou and I had fun just visiting and enjoying our company with each other. Oh, look. I teach about him too. And this was a depression line. So there was just a variety of different artists that I was able to see. Some Norman, I don't think this is a Norman Rockwell, but there was some Norman Rockwells there. And Winslow Homer, I really like him a lot. Really, one of the first American painters that we appreciate in our nation. Some beautiful sky landscapes. I think landscapes are my favorite. It was really a treat to spend time at this museum. Yeah, there's an Edward Hopper. And here is some early American art. They're all originals. They're all by the artist Peale. The landscape is so pretty in Arkansas. It was green and the colors were so pretty. As we were driving out that day to the retreat center, I guess this was Saturday. I was trying to take pictures, but we were driving so fast. But it was gorgeous once we got there. Then again, we have like a Frank Lloyd Wright inspired home to stay in with a huge waterfall that we can see from our deck. It was about, huge. The whole mountain. Arkansas is like that. There's always little brooks and water falling from rocks. It was just so pretty. And I love this picture of Lou and her daughter Mary as we were at the retreat. This is the dear woman, Kathy, who owns all the houses, and she was there on the property as we are all staying in her beautiful homes. This is one of them we didn't stay in, but we got to take a little tour. A big, huge cabin with art on every wall. Just beautiful, decorated, This is the house we stayed at, one of the entrances, and some more art. That also was filled with art on all the walls. My room where I slept, I felt like a queen. They were so kind to me. But there was just windows everywhere to give you the feeling of that the outside is inside, and our wonderful host Donna cooked us the most amazing food and took care of us and all the wonderful ladies that I met. It was just truly a blessing. And they had Solomon seal, the plant there. I thought that was kind of a little God wink. We did a talk about God keeping our tears in a bottle, and some pretty flowers there on the property. It was very peaceful, and God really helped me through the whole thing. I told him the story of this painting, so I had to include it, how there's a lion hiding in my gate. And this was kind of cool. We had a little science experiment. Just a really beautiful place. So peaceful. And Dale is an amazing man. What a gift he is. I had so much fun spending time with him and his wife Lou, and just sharing stories, talking about all the good things that God has done, remembering the works of the Lord. And then later on I went and finished my tour at the Christ of the Ozarks, and I looked at all the sites that they had made of historical places from Israel, from the Last Supper to Golgotha and the tomb where we were. He's not there, he's risen. Well, here was the Last Supper, what it could have looked like. All those pillows are for you to rest your arm on while you recline on one side. And just the pretty land where we were. And their idea of the Sea of Galilee. Their idea of what maybe the cave would have been like where Jesus was born. And they had the tabernacle there with all of the pieces that were in there, in the holy furniture and the Ark of the Covenant. This, I found the old house that I lived at with a 5G giant tower next to it. Glad I don't live there anymore. And I summed up my visit with going to Crown Thorn Chapel, which also was designed by a man who apprenticed with Frank Lloyd Wright. And it's a beautiful chapel that's mostly windows and steel. And it just was beautiful. There was such a beautiful peace there. I mean, I think when I lived there, I went to a concert at one of the buildings, but it was just gorgeous. Behind the altar, you just saw the outside of the rolling hills, and so pretty. This was the church office. Very Frank Lloyd Wright. And I got to take a wonderful walk with my friend Karen. We walked around Eureka the last day I was there and caught up in our lives from the last, 14 years since I saw her. Got to see all the charming places around Eureka. I had to stop if I could and take pictures quick because we were walking so fast. I think I have a picture of me pregnant with Seth on that bridge. Eureka's just such a pretty, unique little town with cool architecture and creative people, beautiful places to walk, and this time of the year is so pretty. I did a lot of things in a week. I saw beautiful country, beautiful people, beautiful places. I just feel very blessed for all the people that helped me go. This is Dale and Lou in their early days. This is their house that I stayed at and visited with them. And there, before we left, I got to see Lou's oldest daughter, Kelly, have lunch with her, and then I flew home. It wasn't sad. It was like a, maybe I'll see you again and we won't wait 14 years kind of goodbye. But when I got home, I had a wonderful surprise. my friends had helped me clean up my yard and cut back all of the crazy. So I came home to a huge blessing, and I'm just so grateful and thankful for this week of my life and all the people that helped me to do it. So thank you, and God bless you, and I will talk to you more about my trip if you want. Thanks.